Last Apple story of the day. Apparently, Apple worked with the U.S. government on a secret iPod. You love these stories, Will.
Mm.
You put secret in the headline. You love that.
Mm-hmm. Conspiracy.
I mean, is your interest piqued or what?
It's peaked.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, you can thank Mac Rumors for that. Well, this was republished from some comments made on a publication called tidbits.com. Apple worked with the U.S. government on a secret modified iPod, according to a new report by a former Apple software engineer, David Shayer. He says back in 2005, he was asked by the director of iPod software to help 2 engineers from the U.S. Department of Energy build a special iPod. The engineers were, in fact, contractors from Bechtel, a large U.S. defense contractor. They go in there, they say, we need a little covert device. We need a little, what would it be? A stealth device. So it looks like an iPod, but it's not an iPod. You see, we can get this anywhere we need to go. This can travel in a pocket. This can look like a regular consumer device. It can function like a regular consumer device, but maybe somewhere deep in that menu is this special feature that we're looking for. So it can run as a sensor. It can run as a detector. Now, question is, Will, if you're the Department of Defense and you're doing secretive operations, what type of detector, what type of feature would you need to have hidden inside of an iPod in 2005? Again, keep in mind, this is before the full penetration of smartphones. So an iPod would be a common thing to find in someone's pocket. But what is the secret feature you're going to need?
I don't know. Some sort of like anti-hacking feature?
Go on. Is this in your dreams or is this reality? Where are we right now?
It's definitely in my dreams. I can't dream of anything right now.
You're wrong, Will. You would want to be able to sense nuclear activity.
Sense?
Yeah, that's right. You want to pick it up on your little stealth Geiger counter. That's what you would want to do. Because you may need to go into an area that doesn't want you there. You may need to go run a quick little covert analysis to find out if there might be nuclear weapons in a place.
To detect radiation.
Yeah! That's what you might do.
I mean, I wouldn't suspect that, but it makes sense. I get it. Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't do it, but they would do it. They spend a bunch of money on this stuff. How about this for a budget? The Department of Energy, responsible for U.S. nuclear weapons and nuclear power programs, and in its 2005 budget, $24.3 billion, $9 billion of the budget intended to meet defense-related objectives such as nuclear deterrence. I don't know if you recall, you had the whole thing, weapons of mass destruction. You remember that back in the day? And how do you determine whether or not you can what do you call it? Invade a place, I guess. How do you determine where a threat actually lives? A real threat, a nuclear threat. You go in and I guess you get close to where you think those weapons might be, and then you just see if you can pick up the radiation. Well, they're not going to let you in there with some thing that's obviously designed to read for radiation, a Geiger counter. They're not going to let you in with a typical one, so you bury it inside of an iPod and you just peek down at that thing every so often, and everyone knows it as an iPod.
Interesting.
So but the crazy thing about the story is Apple was fully aware of it, obviously, but it was so secretive inside of Apple, only like 4 people knew about the operation going on, and they sort of worked together to allow this thing to happen. Very interesting. I remember the iPod, by the way. The iPod that they had worked on or changed around was a iPod 5th generation with a 60 gigabyte disc. Remember, it used to have an actual mini little hard drive in there. I believe it was a 1.8 inch disc in there. Did you have one of these?
I had the 2nd generation.
Wait a second. 5th gen.
Is it the 5th gen?
Oh, you're looking at the iPod Touch, 5th gen. iPod Touch. We just need
Well, how do I
fifth.
search for that?
You just need iPod. Type up iPod 5. See what happens. This might do it. How dare you, iPod Touch? So rude.
They took over.
Maybe it had a different name. Was it Classic? It looks more like the Classic. See, it didn't play video, I don't think.
Oh.
But yeah, that's what it looks like. It was this style that you crack open. And I think it was the 5th iPod, but definitely not the 5th generation of iPod Touch. This was prior to that. You had a hard disk inside, 60 gigs of storage, and a much different operating system with a click wheel, and you moved around that way. So I assume their Geiger counter was buried somewhere in the settings menu that anyone who wanted to inspect the thing would likely be unable to find.